The bird, man.
What's going on, you guys? Angel Garcia, the trainer and father of Danny Garcia, comes out and explains what happened during the Errol Spence Jr. fight. He also talks about Terrence Bud Crawford. Check it out.
Albums, or could you kind of
Big
dive
guy,
deeper?
I'm saying this, an athlete got to be happy. We wasn't happy. It was too much going on. You got to make sure your people go home and not around people come and contaminate you. Or you did it for nothing. You couldn't even be around your own family. We went from a limo into a plane, from a plane to another limo in back of a hotel, up an elevator, into a second and third floor and shut down. I was thinking that he would break out of it, and he never did because he was not a happy fighter. But like I said 2 minutes ago, if he would have fought Spence March before he had the car accident, when he fought Red Catch, he wouldn't have beat Danny.
No, but I gotta ask you. You're like the perfect person to ask. How do you see that fight going down? They're all talking about it happening in about November-ish. Spence versus Crawford. Yeah.
Listen, man. Like I told Spence at the fight when he was sitting next to Danny at the fight with Davis fighting. Like I told Spence, I won't take no 50-50. He got to come over to PBC. Because you got to understand, Terrence Crawford can't sell tickets. And that's what's said by his promotion center. I'm not talking. I'm just saying what they say. I wasn't there, so I'm not a witness to that. But they say he can't sell tickets. Okay, he's a great fighter at the end of the day. But he need guys like Danny, he need guys like Spence. Because he fought Porter on his way out the door.
But
and Porter was already beat up.
In terms of the actual matchup, though, like how would you see that playing?
That fight should happen because the people want it.
Of course.
Besides the point, Spence don't need him.
But I'm asking you, like, who would you lean towards in that
fight? Who would
I
lean toward? None of them.
Come on, Ed. You can't do me like that, man.
One thing about me, I'm a trainer. I'm not a groupie. I don't give a shit about none of them.
After all the excuses that Andrew Garcia had, right? Those were excuses, okay? He tried to say it wasn't excuses, but let's be honest. Those were excuses. And considering everything that Danny went through, you know, his anxiety, he wasn't feeling it, he wasn't feeling right? Many other people at that time was going through the same thing that Danny Garcia is going through. A lot of other fighters was going through the same thing. But guess what? They made no excuses. They performed. They did the job. Errol Spence Jr. himself was coming off a layoff, coming off a split decision win against Sean Porter in a tough fight, and a car accident. So we didn't know what type of Errol Spence was going to show up coming off the accident with the COVID-19 going on. Errol Spence Jr. still got up in there and performed. Where was Danny Garcia that night? Right? He also spoke about Terrence Bud Crawford, as you heard. He don't seem too fond of Terrence Bud Crawford. And yeah, Angel Garcia, really, he's looking at it like this. He said that Sean Porter was out the door. I mean, they totally downplaying Terrence Crawford, right? Also, Terrence Crawford beat Sean Porter. A guy stopped Sean Porter at that, the same guy that Danny Garcia lost to. Angel Garcia said that Crawford don't sell tickets. Actually, Crawford does sell tickets. It's the pay-per-view that's kind of the issue. And that's almost every other fighter in boxing outside of Canelo Alvarez that's having problems with these pay-per-views, right? Let's call a spade a spade. It ain't got nothing to do with seats. It ain't got nothing to do with putting asses in seats. Crawford does that, right? He was just trying to stick it to Terrence Crawford. Why? Because, well, Danny Garcia is out of the sweepstakes. He's totally out of the loop. He didn't perform well at 147 at all. And now he's going to 154 fighting Crawford's opponent that Crawford already stopped years ago. So what are we talking about here? But nonetheless, Errol Spence Jr. went through much more than Danny Garcia. So nobody's hearing any excuses as to why Danny didn't perform in that fight. Tell me what you guys think. Like, subscribe, holla at your boy. Peace out.